Welcome back to 1340 AM. This is KOMY, home of Schoolhouse Radio. I'm here with my son Malachi, brother Dan, Nigel on the East Coast, and Ted in Silicon Valley. We got some rad stickers that we brought for Dan. Those are your 4 sticker packs, Dan. That's your gift, my friend.
Okay.
And we're going to end our show with just thinking about the impact of friendships and relationships because of technology and automation in the future. So, gentlemen, think of the most exciting potential outcome of what future automation and technology could be. I'll start off with this. I think we're really, really close to this, but I remember being on stage at events in 2017, 18, 19, early on. I was starting to build AI tech, starting to build blockchain tech with our teams. And I kept talking about this idea that we're really close to wearing a pair of glasses and then going for a walk and then saying, take a picture of this, send this to my mom, tell her I love her and I'm thinking about her. Like, we're so close. I know that people like Dr. Tim Bates. I know that for sure Tim can do that right now with his Ray-Ban glasses. I know it's possible. Professor. I think he's a doctor too now. That's
He
what
plays one on TV. So
he
we're gonna give
certainly plays one on.
So we will let him have it.
I think he may have just pulled one of those honorary doctorates. So the point is this: when you think about, it's one thing for Tim to do that and send something to one of his kids or his wife. It's a whole other thing for the 5 of us to be so fluent with voice tech and augmented reality and media tech to where we can say, take a picture, send it to my son and say, hey, look at this amazing wall. Wouldn't you love to climb this? And then boom, it hits your phone and you're like, wow, my dad's thinking of me. That is a rad place. Where's that at? I want to go climb that thing. The other thing is, when we think about digital assets, one of the points of the Web3 world, Web 1 is a glass brochure. People put stuff on the internet for us to read, look at. Web 2 is an interactive internet. Web 3 is the internet that we own. It's our internet. Therefore, we own these digital assets. And so the thought around that is, what does it mean for us to be doing life? And then for any point, we can capture something. How often do we create something that's amazing in the world, like a sandcastle or a painting? Maybe not a physical painting that we want to actually go try to sell to somebody, but it might be enjoyed by somebody, or it might be even desirable by somebody. And all of a sudden you go, oh, capture this, put this on the blockchain, create a digital token against it, create one or create many of them, and then let's see if the world is interested in this. So I just think there's so many abilities for friends and relationship to be built, and for people to build communities around things as we leverage both AI as a voice interface and as a co-creating tool, and then Web3 as a trustworthy, immutable ledger that allows us to protect the things that we create. And the final thought on this is, I will say this, I think that we're going to a world that people are not yet expecting very quickly with AI. Right now, AI does co-creation with us, self-supervised, kind of like a Tesla car. Tesla does self-driving, supervised. You got to still keep your eyes on the road, put your hands on the wheel, or it'll ding you. And I think we're very quickly going to be going to co-creation with AI unsupervised, like a Tesla being a taxi and our car just going and picking people up and then sending us revenue. I think we're getting very close to unsupervised co-creation with AI. And I think that's a very exciting thing when you think about friendships, when you think about, okay, this musician and this writer and this instrument player, they all have agreed to make an album together. And they all have agreed to kind of train their AI. Now they send their 3 AIs to go make an album together. Like, that's a pretty crazy use of a relationships being built, of co-creation happening unsupervised with AI taking the approval of these 3 humans.
Unsupervised.
So I think there's a lot of really exciting things there to come. Nigel, Ted, Dan, Malachi, jump in.
Fascinating you said that, right? Like, about, like you sending these things out. And I immediately thought about, leaving someone in charge of something you care about. Your pet, your baby, like, to me, your personal digital identity, if you would, your voice, your likeness, all that stuff. I think there's something to be said for entrusting that care with people around you and being able to send it out. I think it's the responsible co-creation. And some of us may not be ready for that. Like I think that, there could be irresponsible creation, and that's going to lead to catastrophic things, because automation, it just automates. It just replicates more of what is. Accidents will be multiplied. Good will be multiplied. I just think we just need to lean into the multiplication of good. And as far as the blockchain goes, I feel like rather than the focus being so much of investment of money and assets and things to lose, I feel like things like, who did serve Thanksgiving dinner, who donated to the homeless, who helped build a house, who did, like, I think those sorts of things are just such powerful uses of the technology, and they will foster future adoption at the time that is right.
For sure. What about just the last 25 years? Thinking like texting. Texting and messaging was such a huge change when cell phones started turning into smart phones.
Yeah.
I remember texting through using just a dial, telling you had to hit the button 3 times to get your letter you wanted to do. I don't know how many people are familiar with that, but just the last 25 years, going from that texting and messaging each other, which created a bigger group or more expanding group of your friends and more opportunities to get together, made it easier to connect. From the texting, we moved into what do we have now? Everything, Telegram, Lark, group chats, so many apps that we can actually move from the texting into sharing more detailed parts of our lives, group chatting, becoming more involved. A lot of those group chats are allowed live video or video calls on that, and also just the Zoom, finally going into the video aspect of
technology
the
and
real and
innovation
now.
changes communication.
Those things, if we've seen that happen in the last 20, 25 years, you can expect double or more, because our technology has grown. Everything's become smarter, quicker, faster. Chips are becoming smaller, so more condensed, more consolidated. So we can vision that next 25 years possibly turning into a decade. And that's what I think this show is really all about, is moving towards an elevation of just being conscious of where we're at, not to be afraid of it too much. If it's happening, it's going to go there. What happens, so we can all be friends and embrace these technologies and make better use out of it. There's always going to be bad guys out there, but we're going to also create a DAO, which becomes a digital jail pretty soon. So that's going to maybe, who knows when that can happen, but an automated system that will be coded in to find out nefarious acts that are going on. Vetting. If it's not true, you go to your site or wherever you're on, goes into a digital jail for a while. You want to try and find autonomous avatars. Nope, that's tracked also. You want to use VPNs or somewhere else. Nope, that's tracked also. So you're just offline for a week or two. See how people react to that if they want to try and be bad and not.
Yeah.
Go
The
ahead.
way that people have changed through innovation and the way technology has become, even looking past like 25 years, you can look into the thousands of years, how we go from individual small communities to then they get the wheel or things like that. And now the transportation becomes a bigger thing that's easier. You don't have to walk everywhere.
That poor guy who was rolling around in a square wheel for all those years. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, the thing eventually rounded itself off, and he just got out of it one day. And
Did you think a square wheel fast enough?
square wheel does not fit.
The poor guy with the square wheel. Yeah.
I mean, my generation is only used to what is here now. The whole idea of there's always technology. Yeah, it's a phone. What do you mean? You didn't have a phone before? And so it's not going to feel as if it's going to be so much of a change in the exact moment. It's going to feel like, yeah, this happened a few weeks ago. Like, it's not that crazy. But then after you get to farther from now, like a few years, and then you look back to what it is now or before, you're like, oh, whoa, blockchain and crypto and AI came so quickly. Like, that's crazy. Now I have a helper robot in my house making me my meals and telling me everything I need to buy and giving me an entire lecture that's really easy and interactive on how to make sure I maintain my health correctly, and I'm just sitting in my house. Like, that's something that's going to be a quick reality, and it's so crazy to think that that's so soon.
Exciting.
I'm excited to.
Yeah, go ahead, Ted.
Oh, well, what I'm excited about is, the social innovations that are going to be built upon the current technology. And are we going to use these to solve, human problems? Like, you look at the last, the Enlightenment, there was a lot of technological advancement, but what really changed the world was when they used that technological advancement to invent democracy, or reinvent, rediscover, build democracy. And I think, the same way that, like, hardware can advance, but it's until the software catches up that you really benefit of it. I would like zoom out and say, I don't really think we've seen the impact of technology. You could say it's a wash as far as making humanity better, because if you look at the things like social health, the last 30 decades, particularly in Silicon Valley, human trafficking has increased, food insecurity has increased, homelessness has increased, addiction has increased, loneliness has increased over the same periods that we've had explosive growth of technology. And I think if we can now leverage the technology to solve those problems, that to me is what's really exciting.
And build friendship in the process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nigel, Malka, any final words before we hit that music and say goodbye for the day?
I think we need to leverage the technology as much as possible and hold our leaders more accountable to use it in those productive, constructive ways, not just talk about it in, more of a visionistic type of thing. What are you doing specifically to do this? And then put that on the blockchain as your badge, your Boy Scout, Girl Scout badge, and really lean into that.
Secure and safe.
Stand behind what you say.
100%. And take the credit too. Like, I think that's good.
Right.
No, Nigel, I'm gonna give you all the credit. That's kind of my jam.
that.
Give the credit away.
We pick that up tomorrow.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow.